Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the third fight between Canelo and Triple G. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so we knew this one was coming. Before Canelo even fought Bivol, we knew this one was coming. Before he fought Bivol, we knew that he signed that 2-fight contract and that he was going to be fighting Bivol, and then later on in the year, September, he was going to be fighting Triple G for their third fight. It's like it's been a long time coming, man. Ever since those first two, we knew that somehow, some way, down the road, we were going to end up seeing this third fight, and now we get it. September 17th, it's official. Going to be at the T-Mobile Arena out in Las Vegas, man. And, dude, this is the fight we all been waiting for, right? What more can I say about that? Now, that all being said, I don't think we can quite expect this to be how the first two were. Right, let's take a look back and let's think about it. That first fight, dude, there was so much build-up. Triple G was the boogeyman of the division. Canelo was moving up. Dude, the stage was set. There was a lot of people, myself included, who thought it wasn't necessarily the smartest fight for Canelo to take. Triple G was out there just putting it on dudes, hurting them. Canelo was the cash cow of the sport, and he didn't really need Triple G. Didn't really need to test himself against somebody quite like that. But he went out and did it anyways, because Canelo always said he was going to go out, he was going to fight everybody. He wasn't ducking and dodging. He went out and he made the fight happen. Now, the story of that fight was that Triple G was the aggressor. Canelo was using an excessive amount of movement all over the ring, fighting off of his back foot, fighting with his back on the ropes. Got fatigued by like the 5th, 6th round. His output dropped significantly. Triple G was on his front foot. He was using the jab. He was landing good shots. I mean, look, Canelo did some good work. He clearly had the faster hands. He was landing some crisp counters. But at the end of the day, I give that fight to Triple G. I don't remember exactly how I scored it. I think I had him by, maybe 115, 113, 7 rounds to 5. Maybe even 116, 112, 8 rounds to 4, something along those lines. But I do remember that I was watching it live, and I do remember when that draw came down, the first thing I thought was, man, that's bought and paid for. That's Oscar De La Hoya at work right there. We saw a very similar thing with Canelo versus Bivol. Now, they couldn't be as crazy with it. They couldn't be as drastic. I mean, Bivol went out there and I don't want to say he put a beating on him, but man, he won that fight clearly. They still only gave it to him 115, 113. That first fight with Triple G was a lot closer. Ended up giving him the draw, letting him escape without a loss. Then we see the rematch. And I love the adjustments that Canelo made. Right? He came out there, and the story of the second fight was that he stood his ground. The story of the second fight was that Canelo was coming forward. He was the aggressor. He wasn't giving up that ground. He wasn't letting Triple G get the momentum that he wanted. He wasn't letting him get on the front foot and be heavy and chase him all around the ring. Looked like he went through a different strength and conditioning program, man. Looked more muscular. He was able to hold up with his conditioning, landed hard shots. I loved what he brought to the ring in that second fight and walked away with a clear victory. Triple G still looked good in spots, still definitely won some rounds, but that was one that Canelo won all day long. Now, since then, two completely different paths. We've only seen Triple G fight 4 times, and in my opinion, it didn't look good in 2 of them. You look at that fight against Derevyanchenko, he got hurt to the body. You look at his last fight against Murata, he was letting Murata back him up at times. He was getting in a defensive shell. He was getting hurt to the body at times. Murata was landing some good, clean shots. Man, Triple G is like 40 years old now. It's an understatement to say he's at the end of his career. It's phenomenal that he's been able to still compete at the top level for this long, particularly a guy who's not like a slick and crafty southpaw or anything like that, right? Like he's not cute in the way that he does things. He's a banger, man. He goes out there and just gets after it. 40 years old, still competing at the top level. But let's not pretend that doesn't take something from him. Let's not pretend that he's still the same guy that we saw, destroy Martin Murray or David Lemieux or something like that. Let's not pretend that Father Time isn't undefeated. And then on the other hand, we got Canelo. What's he been doing since the last Triple G fight? Just going on a crazy run. He had like 8 fights to Canelo's 4, or Triple G's 4, much busier. Fighting guys like Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, Yildirim, Kovalev. Moves up and fights Bivol. Look, Triple G has always been known for his power. He's always been known for having a great jab. The fact that Canelo has been in the ring with Triple G for 24 rounds, I don't think he's worried about his power. The fact that he moved up since that last fight and experienced the power that a guy like Kovalev has, Bivol at 175 pounds, I don't think he's worried about the power. The fact that he went out there in that last fight and figured out a winning strategy, not giving up ground, pushing Triple G back because Triple G can't fight good off that back foot. I don't think he's worried about all those things. I don't think he's worried about that jab in that way. Like, I think a lot of those butterflies and a lot of those things that he was concerned with and a lot of things that people say went to the wayside after their first fight. Then he took all of that, put it in the second fight, comes out with the victory. And in my opinion, since then, his performances have been up here. His career path has been up here. Triple G has not been. He's not been fighting nearly as big name guys, not been fighting as oftenly, not looked as impressive. And now, by the way, the first two fights were at 160 pounds. This one's going up to 168. I don't think that's going to benefit Triple G either. I think Canelo is the guy with the more experience at the bigger weight. I think that having that extra weight on him is probably going to make Triple G fatigue even earlier. Probably going to make him a little bit more immobile, right? Make him a little bit more stationary. He was never known for being all fleet of foot, but his defense was underrated. He was able to pick a lot of shots off with his gloves, but he was also able to use his feet to make slight angles, back up when he needed to, get out of the way. 8 pounds doesn't seem like that much, but you fatigue faster with it. It's heavier on your body, and you can't move quite exactly the way that you used to, especially when you're talking about over the course of 12 rounds. So when I think about this, and let me add, you know what? I forgot even about the cherry on top of the cake, the sweetener. We got to talk about the mental mind state of Canelo going into this one. I imagine the dude is on fire. You think about everything that he's done in his career, the type of mindset that he has, the way that he wants to go out there and perform, the way he's talked about constantly wanting to be recognized as one of the greatest of all times, the way he stays busy and he's dedicated and everything. He goes out there and gets a loss. And it happens. It was a legit loss. That's not my point. It wasn't like he got cheated or robbed or anything like that. But he goes out there and gets a loss. And it reminds me of the last time we saw him get a loss, right? Floyd Mayweather. And what did he do after that fight? He went back to the lab and just was focused and locked in and came out, and in my opinion, the best version of him that we'd have ever seen. The run that he went on since then was phenomenal. He really owned his style, really got into who he was. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the same thing after this fight with Bivol. To just have to, kind of that little reality check when you go back in and you're like, okay, here's what I need to do. I was getting a little bit off my high horse. I was feeling myself a little bit. I thought that I was untouchable. This dude showed me that there's still some things that I need to work on. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo came out here, man, just head movement, super sharp, boxing a little bit better behind the jab. Because that was the other thing about that second fight. He went to the body more. He used the jab better. He not besides just the pressure that he was applying and backing him up in the geography in which the fight took place in the ring. I think Canelo's going to come out and look phenomenal. I think this is going to be an incredibly hard fight for Triple G to win. It wouldn't surprise me if we got a late stoppage. I get it, man. Triple G's made of iron. You've seen guys go out there and land hard shots on him, Canelo included, over the course of 24 rounds. And we've seen him get hurt at times, but we've never seen him really get hurt. We've never really seen him in trouble. So imagine when Canelo goes out there now and gets a stoppage. Just puts the stamp on that rivalry, walks away in this third fight with the most definitive victory you can have. Don't even need the judges for it. Maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'll break down the tape and look at things a little bit closer as we get more near the fight. Got a few months out, but man, there's bad blood. Canelo's got something to prove. And the way that we went from the first fight to the second fight, I have every reason to believe that the second fight to the third fight will be just as dominant. So let me know what you guys think. Am I underestimating what Triple G brings to the table? Am I overestimating what Canelo's going to do? Do you think this 168 pounds is beneficial to him or to Triple G? Let me know what you guys think.